Welcome back, another episode. The Acolyte episode 7 choice clarifies the events of that fatal night, and the reasons the Jedi covered it up, ending much conjecture about what happened to Mother Anisia's coven on Brendok 16 years ago. Even more devastatingly, choice presents those incidents as a tragic series of mistakes by Rashomon. Viewers' perception of what happened in Destiny is reframed from the viewpoint of Master Indara's squad, emphasizing how their actions, regardless of their intentions, made matters worse. This is particularly true for Saul, who represents both the finest and worst aspects of the Jedi Order and, thanks to the disclosures in this episode, has unintentionally turned into the story's villain in the Acolyte. Choice delves deeply into the ramifications of jumping into a situation without sufficient knowledge, with director Kaganada making a comeback and writing credits going to Charmaine de Great, Jen Richards, and Jasmine Flournoy. Jedi have a code that requires them to defend the defenseless and make up for wrongs. As the dominant institution of the Force, however, they have a tendency to view everything non-Jedi as strange at best and dangerous at worst. Anisia anticipated the consequences of Saul's way of thinking even a century before the tragic events of Order 66, somewhat ominously cautioning Saul that those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy someday. The first significant twist of choice is that, despite the Brendok Coven's fears, the Jedi didn't really mean to abduct their offspring. This is especially true of the Acolyte's finale, which has a runtime of 43 minutes. Finding out that a Virence, a massive force energy, was somewhere on the planet's surface, Saul, Indara, Torben, and Kelnaka were actually just on a survey mission. While Torben is bored with it and just wants to get back to Coruscant, Saul finds this phenomenon fascinating. But as Jedi, they feel that the Order has an institutional obligation to investigate, or assert such a Virence should it exist. Particularly since the aftermath of the Great Hyperspace disaster rendered Brendok incapable of supporting life on its own, a clear reference to the High Republic novels. That being said, Saul has some justification for his concerns, at the very least. Beyond the critical Virence M-count revelation that Mi and Osha are not only powerful in the Force but also have the same Force awareness split into two distinct beings, the Jedi deduce from Mi a foreboding, if not terrifying, meaning regarding the Ascension's goal. The Coven's evil powers should also be mentioned. The audience sees how Anisia used destiny to manipulate Torben in one of the most eerie scenes of the program. She achieved this by completely immobilizing the Padawan by enclosing him in a void and making hollow promises regarding his homesickness. Choice gains its dramatic edge from this underlying, unnecessary tragedy that was eventually covered up with lies. Although the show may have benefited from a few more minutes, the direction and acting effectively convey the episode's use of a Rashomon-style framing device to highlight the Jedi's shortcomings, a la Star Wars, Episode 8, The Last Jedi. At the pinnacle of their institutional and cultural influence, they are a powerful organization, but precisely because of this dominance, the Order is protected from full repercussions, which leads to trouble. Saul asks Indara, who is protecting this child if not the Jedi, as he bemoans the potential threat Osha faces from her coven. To be sure, it's a haughty remark, but even Indara has her moments of conceit, respecting the Coven's bounds despite calling them so strange. Mi's quest for vengeance feels somewhat justified because it turns out that Indara is the one who chooses the story that Saul subsequently relays to a distraught Osha, even if she is no longer the twin that the Sith intended for her to become an Acolyte. For more videos, subscribe.